A country mourns our hero, Col Santosh Mahadik, martyred in an encounter with militants in Jammu and Kashmir. Today, the Defence Minister led the country in bidding a final farewell. So as the nation mourns the martyrdom of Colonel Mahadik, the big question before the country today is whether we are seeing a new phase, a new dangerous phase of militancy in the Kashmir Valley. Let's go straight across to Srinagar, where the General Officer Commanding of the 15 Corps, the man in charge of the Kashmir Valley, General Dua, is with us. Sir, let me start by asking you first to talk a little bit about Colonel Mahadik. We have seen this year that commanding officers are leading from the front and paying with their lives. That is the price our force is having to pay. But this is, of course, one of the finer traditions and the finest traditions of our military, that our senior officers do lead from the front. So talk a little bit about Santosh first.
Colonel Santosh Mahadik was a courageous officer, a thorough gentleman and a true commando. He always led his men by personal example. He's been in command of this unit for over 1 year, and in every operation he's been leading from the front. In this operation too, when his group came under heavy fire, in order to draw the fire away from his buddies, he personally maneuvered to a flank and fired upon the terrorists. And it is in this encounter that he paid the ultimate sacrifice.
And, sir, he came from an extraordinarily modest background. His father used to supply milk, and yet, he's somebody who obviously came literally for the love of the country and the love of the military. So, personally, tell us more about him, his background, why he was drawn to the military. It's an inspiring story.
That's right, Baka. As you said, and we've been hearing it on news over the last couple of days, he came from a very modest background, studied in a Sainik school. We've heard from his batchmates and course-mates talk about it. What actually drew him to the army was this spirit of adventure, the love for the motherland, and a daredevilry beyond parallel. His friends and course-mates also remember him in all fields of life as someone who always wanted to be ahead. And as one of his course-mates put it, he was bound to go this way with a bullet in the chest. You asked me...
Yes, go ahead, sir. Yeah. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
You asked me that in the Indian Army, the officers always lead from the front. This is the second commanding officer we've lost in the valley this year. That's right. Indian Army always has its leaders leading from the front. Whether it was Kargil, and you covered that extensively yourself, the officer-to-man casualty ratio is amongst the highest in the world. So whether it was Kargil or in the counter-terrorism or CI operations anywhere in the valley or in the northeast, you find officers leading from the front.
Absolutely.
You are right that we pay a heavy, you're right to say we pay a heavy price. But then we are steeped in this tradition not only by our training, but also by the fact that Indian Army soldier is willing to give his best, is willing to give up his life for the country, provided he is well led. And nothing more motivating for a soldier than to have his officers, including his commanding officer, lead from the front.
Sir, let me ask you, are you worried as the GOC that we are seeing a new dangerous phase of militancy in the valley that we have not seen before? You know, I've been reporting from Kashmir for 2 decades. This started as a homegrown insurgency. It then became almost all about foreign militants of the Lashkar and the Jaish. And now we are back to, especially in areas like South Kashmir, seeing young, educated men taking to militancy. You've seen the Burhan Wani videos. He's the son of a high school principal. How do you assess this new phase of militancy that Colonel Mahadik and others, have been fighting?
You're right. In the past 2 decades, we've seen these ups and downs. But in the recent years, as you yourself brought out, that firstly, the numbers of militancy are down now. Yes. They were never so low in the valley. We have just a little over 200 militants in the valley. Our counter-infiltration grid, a multi-tiered grid that is in place, is so effective that they are unable to infiltrate despite numerous attempts. Yes. So they've started resorting, the Nexus has started resorting to recruitment in the valley. Just like they can't infiltrate, they are unable to exfiltrate. So they just give them some basic training in the valley itself, and thereafter these boys, these young children are actually out as terrorists while they are not fully trained for any such issues. You spoke about Burhan Wani. Now today, to grab media attention, since these boys are not well trained, they are taking advantage of the social media. Today you upload a catchy video and it is picked up by the media. But all I'd like to say is that these boys today who are getting pushed into militancy, we sometimes feel bad in an encounter when somebody is killed, when he's joined militancy just 3 months ago or 7 months ago or just 1 year ago, and they are being pushed to operate against the security forces. Yes. So all in all, I would say that these boys are actually our own misguided youth. They are not foreign terrorists. They are our own misguided youth in the valley, and we need to find ways to get them back to the mainstream.
I'm so glad you said that, because in the end, when your own people, when our own people, as you said, are doing this, we have to in the end look for political solutions as well to get them back into the mainstream. One last question, sir. The Islamic State is what the world is talking about after Paris. We have seen incidents of a few ISIS flags go up in the valley. What is the assessment? Is there a serious danger that the ISIS could actually entangle young men from the Kashmir Valley? So far, according to my information, there's just one reported case, and that too is not fully confirmed, of somebody having gone from Kashmir who's on the ISIS watch in India. How do you see the ISIS threat or impact or influence in the state?
First of all, a few flag-waving incidents that we've seen in the recent past, personally I don't see them being an indicative of the ISIS influence in the valley, so to say. Yeah. But yes, there is a concern. There are some people over here who are perhaps getting in touch online with organizations like ISIS. We are monitoring this situation very closely. We are monitoring the situation closely in concert with the intelligence agencies.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us from Srinagar.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhagat.